Hey choppers, welcome to another video quickie preview. This time it's for Token Terrors Battlegrounds by Terrible Games. In this skirmish game, players draft teams of 10 tokens from multiple factions of melee and range tokens to take each other on across a 7x7 battlefield. Each player will then take 5 of their tokens randomly from their cemetery bag to start out on each side of the playing field, placing them one at a time back and forth till each player has 5 on the board and then 5 in reserves on the back of their card. Their factions come with 2 talents each that you can activate during your turn. On a player's turn, they will activate one of their tokens and command it 3 times with one of 4 commands. Either move, which is moving 1 space, either forward, backwards, or side to side, no diagonals. Battle, which is where they attack an enemy token. Enrage, which gives them +1 threat. Threat is basically not only your attack, but your defense and life in the game. As well as using one of the token talents on their faction card. Once a token has performed its 3 commands, you can have a choice to perform more commands by spending surges on your surge die. Each player starts out with 1 surge. You gain surges during the game by moving 3 unique spots. For that, you will gain a surge, or by resting at the end of your turn, which is signified by turning your token all the way around, and you'll gain a surge for that. At the end of your turn, if you have less than 5 tokens on the board, you can replenish from your reserves, placing anywhere along the outside edge of the board. Defeated tokens go into a player's cemetery bag, and once you have defeated all 10 of an opponent's tokens, you win Token Terrors. Hey choppers, I know we don't usually do this, but at the request of the designer, we're gonna do a little mini review here at the end of the quickie preview. So I'm here with DBM, who is my resident strategic game player. I always go to him when I have strategy games to play to get his thoughts and insights on the game. So I wanted to throw it over to him and see what he liked and disliked about Token Terrors Battlegrounds.
Well, let's start with what I liked. What I liked is it was really fun thematically. You have a lot of tokens to use for various purposes. You're really limited as far as team composition goes. The tokens looked really cool. The idea is really fun. It's very, very chess-like. Yeah, it was a fun game to play. Really easy for beginners. I got a 5-minute gist of the rules and was like, all right, let's go.
Yeah, it's really quick to learn, really easy to learn. Like he was saying, and the rules are really simple to pick up. If you're familiar with chess, you're familiar with positioning on a board. Yeah, that's one of the pluses. You're gonna pick it up right away. Like you're saying about being limited, that's like one of the downfalls of the game is being limited to how many pieces you can get from different factions. I know the rule book says to pick 2 factions to learn from, but
That's
then
a suggestion.
Yeah, suggested. Yeah, 2 factions when you're learning, and then you could possibly go 3 or 4 factions once you've picked up the game, but you're still a little bit limited because of the interaction with the factions, with their abilities. We were talking about this earlier. Some of them aren't cohesive. Yeah, and they don't really work together. And if you're familiar with the game and whoever you're playing against is not familiar with the game, you kind of have an advantage whenever you're drafting the factions.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When I played elves and zombies. Mm-hmm. And I found that there weren't really any synergies between the two. The elves turned out to be pretty overpowered with their ability to attack at range, both forward, sideways, and diagonally. And I mean, it's not that overpowered in the sense that you can't defeat it because he
Yeah,
did defeat all of my elves.
Yeah.
But that was mostly because of his synergies with group positioning.
Mm.
He had a lot. He was playing the flying machines, the dwarves. Yeah. Dwarves or gnomes?
No, it's playing goblins and flying machines.
Yeah. Is it just flying machines?
It's just it's winged machines.
The ornithopters.
Flying machines. Yeah, basically ornithopters if you're familiar with Magic the Gathering. Yeah, just little flying machines. But yeah, they do position and move together.
They got to move together. Mm. And that's one of the problems with the game is that it's a battle of attrition, and when you have synergies in a group, but you can only move one piece and you have to move it away from your group in order to attack another person, especially if you're using a melee against ranged. It's going to be rough for you if you're playing the melee. Yeah,
it breaks up because your attack power and everything, your defense is based on how close your tokens are together. Yeah. So once you break that up, you're a little bit screwed unless you have something like the winged machines or flying machines that have the ability
to move together.
Yeah, that you can move the other pieces when you move your one piece, so it keeps that synergy together. Yeah. And then we're talking about whenever you draft, if you're drafting like all ranged factions and you have them on there, as opposed to your opponent that would be left with all the melee if they didn't end up grabbing any of the ranged factions, that on the board, moving your range flying and being able to hit things farther away, whereas melee is up close, you're gonna totally overpower your opponent.
Yeah, yeah. I was telling him that there should be some sort of rule for team composition. Mm. If there was a rule for team composition specifically stating you're only allowed to pick this, then this.
Yeah. Like one range faction and then one melee faction at least on your team, and then you can if you're doing a third faction, because the game says when you're first learning just 2 factions. So if you say 1 melee, 1 range, and then if you later on once you learn the game, you have to have at least 1 melee and at least 1 range faction. That way, if you're doing a third faction, you can get another range or another melee to make your teams.
The abilities were very fun.
Oh yeah. The token talents, they were great for each faction.
Some of them seemed a little unnecessary. They just, I couldn't see a reason to use some of the abilities as far as what they do. In combat. Like I said, I played the zombies and the elves. There was an ability on the zombies tokens that allow you to replace them from your graveyard bag into your reserves, which ultimately won me the game. Yeah. I only did it once. There was very few opportunities to actually utilize that ability.
Yeah, because it wouldn't have changed it either way when he did it. When he finally did it, it got him that one up on me that gave him that extra token, and then my guys didn't have the ability to actually bring anybody back in, and my reserves were wiped out. He was left with more tokens on the board than I was.
Because in a battle of attrition, having infinite resources. But yeah, I mean, as far as strategy goes, it's pretty balanced. The team composition would probably be the biggest downside, I think, for a new player jumping in with an experienced player. Yeah.
It's just well, and that's mostly covered by a lot of games. When you have inexperienced players and experienced players. Yeah. But with if you're playing against somebody that completely isn't familiar with drafting mechanics, isn't familiar with the game in general, it might be too much of an advantage.
Yeah, it's definitely something that. You would need some sort of prior knowledge as far as team compositions or drafting goes in order to be successful at the game. And that's not a bad thing, but it definitely doesn't help with new players or younger players.
Especially younger players in our case. But the tokens, I show you the tokens.
Those are really cool.
Are beautiful, and we're old school Magic the Gathering and D&D players, so using those for your tokens in Magic the Gathering would be great. The ones that we played with, I think they were resin build, where the actual ones are going to be full sculpt stuff. So they're actually going to be better quality than the ones that we played with. So we're going to cut it. Yeah, he's getting a phone call because we forgot to set his phone on vibrate. But this is a good time to actually cut it. So I want to thank him for, DBM for joining me. Here he comes running back on the camera. And so we don't have to cut. Token Terrors, Battlegrounds is coming to Kickstarter. It's a great game. Make sure to check it out. We love it. We can't wait to see what more factions and more tokens that they come out with. And we're excited.
Can't wait to play it again.
Oh, yeah. So we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.